Hi, there's Ira. Hi, Ira. How are you doing? You can unmute yourself. We're just going to run a test. How are you, Ira?
Hello.
How are you?
Right, I'll be with you in a sec.
Okay, I'll unmute you. Diane?
Hi, Linda.
Hi, how are you doing?
All right, and you? I'll turn my volume. I'll turn the sound off in a second. But
Okay.
you asked how are you when the phone rang.
Okay, it's so shame. Okay.
I wasn't sure if you could hear me or not. So.
No, it's okay. It's okay. What we're going to do now, we're just going to run a test, and then I'll speak to you in a second. I just want to.
Yeah, no, turn it off. It's fine. Go for it.
Linda, I'm just going to duck out at 4 and I'll be back. Bye.
Okay, but Diane, we need to now. Can you find where the co-hosting is on this? Remember.
Oh, I think we just are.
Are we co-hosting? Because Michelle, who's coming on, Michelle, who's going to give the lecture, is also going to, he wants to co-host.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So he'll need to check. Oh, no, you didn't do it. I think, let's have a look. If you go on you, Linda, I think you can make us a co-host.
So where is that?
So if you click onto participants at the bottom.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then you should come up with a list of participants. At the moment, it's you, me, and
yeah. Okay.
And then if you click on more, or I think on the person, you should be able to make me like someone a co-host.
Oh, where's more?
So if you click on by the side of your name.
Okay, like Diane. More.
Yeah.
Okay, and make co-host. So you are co-host.
So you could be a co-host.
Okay,
yeah,
so I put you on co-host. Okay, I'll put you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so you just do the same for Michael when he comes on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's excellent. Okay.
Sorry, it's a day of like one Zoom meeting after another. And Julie said she said to me, can you just do this one? It's a webinar at 2:30 because she's on another one. And it would end up being a meeting. I was like, so I just said, I've got to go. So I've got another one to do at 4:00 and I'll be back by 2:30.
Okay, fine.
Sorry.
Okay. So, I've just messaged Michelle, and we have Ira, my dear friend of 30
And then,
years.
Linda, we'll catch up after when we've finished about my things. Is that all right?
Yeah. He wanted to just, Michelle wanted to, we ran a check this morning.
Yeah.
What he's going to do, he's going to make he's going to do a digital crown, and his technician is going to help. So it should be really interesting. And then he will take all the questions from about going back to work.
Yeah.
So, So now Ira is on mute, but he can answer a question while it's the three of us.
He can talk. You can unmute him.
You can talk, Ira. When are you going back to work? When are you going back to work? You can unmute yourself, Ira.
You're asking me?
I'm asking you. It's just at the moment, it's just the three of us on.
Oh, that should be fun. Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
There are real people out there.
Real people, yeah. It's fabulous. Fabulous.
I'm beginning to wonder whether I'm actually in some sort of raccoon experiment where there's nobody outside of my...
There's no one else, yeah.
Exactly. Sure.
There we go.
I see the stuff from a guy called Ross Hudson. Ross Hudson.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah, Michelle is here.
Yeah.
So now, Michelle, I'm going to...
I'll take my stuff off and I'll speak to you later, yeah?
Okay. Well, when Michelle has to... Did you never answer the question when you're going back to work? Hi, Michelle.
I'll speak to you later.
Yeah? Okay, Ira. Okay, hi there.
Can I start letting people in?
Yeah, please do. I've already let a few in already.
All right, I'll let them in and then, I'll duck out at 4.
Yeah, let everybody in. Okay, I can see who's joining. So, Michelle,
Ilana, I think.
Yeah.
We have people from all over the world, from Manchester, 2 from Manchester, London, Israel. Moti, your student, your favorite student is on as well. So, and Sonny's coming in now. So we have people from all over. Here's Sonny. Sonny, you'll have to tell us where he's from.
He's I think he's local. He's been on some of our other ones.
Yeah. There's Brian. So our technician is on as well. Brian Matthews over there. You can see that's Brian. Michelle, can you see everybody? There we go.
Just a
Excellent.
second.
Okay.
Hey, me too.
And there's Moti is a student. Okay. So Brian,
Yeah.
Michelle works with his dental technician, and this
Okay.
morning when we did the test. The dental technician assists at chairside, does the suctioning and all that. And I saw Michelle do a scanning and screening, and he did a scan, and then the technician then goes and makes it. He's going to tell us now. We just, I just thought it would be really, really interesting for you to see.
No, that's great. Thank you very much for that.
So Michelle, you just need to unmute one of the screens.
I will. One moment.
Oh yeah, you're on 2.
Yeah, when you're onto the net, yeah. Excellent, we can hear it slightly.
Just a second.
Okay, I'm going to unmute him again. There we go, and we're going to record it. Yeah, because I think this is the way forward for all of us to learn the chair side and get the whole operation quite slick. And we have Ilana from Manchester as well. How are you doing, Ilana? I hope you're all well. And this is the way forward, and this is what we want to do.
Hello. Hi, Linda.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah? When are you preparing to go back to work?
Well, we're hoping to open on Monday, 1st of June.
Great, so are we.
How about you? Also,
Yeah.
I like your uniform, all in pink. Very nice.
Pink. Yeah, we love the pink. Right, so Michelle, are you ready? Yeah,
I'm ready, of course. I just finished 2 minutes ago with my last patient.
Oh, shame.
Yeah. So I'm breathing air and enjoying it so much.
And what's the temperature in Tel Aviv today?
Not bad, not bad. I think it's about 32.
Lovely.
Yeah.
We're very lucky in London, it's about 27.
You tell me when to begin.
We've got like
and I'll
6 minutes
start.
yet.
We've got 6 minutes. Do you want to do a sound check or a screen check?
Yeah, I can.
You want to share the screen?
Yes, I'll share the screen. One moment. Host disabled participant screen sharing. So please enable.
And can you sort that?
Why would it do that?
Maybe I will leave. I want to show you around with my smartphone. Listen, Linda. I want to show you around with my smartphone.
Yeah, I want you to do that.
So I'm connected. I'm actually connected on 3 stations.
Yeah.
Try that one. I've just moved it to another one.
So can you do share
That might
screen?
work. Can you do share screen?
I would like to share screen. Yeah.
Can you do it?
One moment. Yes, I
that
think
right?
so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Screen.
I'm getting a whiz with Zoom. There's always a new skill to learn.
We did many webinars in Israel. We were very busy in this aspect.
That's excellent. We're all learning and getting better at it. So we just need, now you can just share your screen.
No. I didn't mean this. One moment. This goes out. Zoom. Signed out. One moment. Too many windows open. Meeting control. You share your screen. Yep. PowerPoint.
Yeah, excellent.
One moment. It will be. Now.
Fabulous.
Okay, now I'll move this. One moment. הם רואים. אני רואה פה מה הם רואים. Maybe I'll put it up here. Like this. Okay. כן, אתה רואים את זה. Okay.
Okay. So you're going to first of all you're going to take us on a walking tour through your practice and show us what you've been how you've organized for COVID, because everybody's going to want to ask you all these questions.
I should do that as soon as you'll ask me to. If you want me to do it now, I will do it now. But let's wait.
While we're waiting, we've got 10 of us here. Yeah. While we're waiting, I think that would be, people are going to ask questions because they're going to go back to work. I don't know when Dr.
Do you have to enable to?
I think if you use that screen and then you just use your phone, you should be able to. Let's just see.
I use my phone. It's okay. Here.
Yeah.
Let's check my phone.
Oh, no, I've lost. We seem to have lost the Zoom.
So, but I have to enable the.
Oh, there it is. So I've got it.
I did?
Got it now, yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Now you have to enable also my other computer, the third one with the.
Oh, okay. I just did it for all multiple participants.
Bye, Bunim.
Yes. Bunim.
Hi.
Bunim's been organizing our Tehillim group. He's very organized. And yeah, and Ilana's also on the Tehillim group, and Moti. So we really, yeah, take us on a walk. Let's see if we can get the technology to work on that.
I've changed it to all participants. So hopefully you can share.
Everyone else is meeting.
Okay. Do you see me? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay. That's the clinic. Let me just open the volume.
Yeah, this is good. We can
Hi,
see.
Ira. No, not like that.
Okay, so that's your sterilizing room.
Ira is the big boss here.
Yeah.
Okay. Pascal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is you over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my Omnicam.
Yeah.
Okay, the acquisition center.
Yeah.
Microscope. Another room. Stairs.
Reception.
Tel Aviv. Here is Tel Aviv for you. The center of Israel. The sun is shining. And the entrance. Okay, as a patient comes to the clinic, he has his instructions, and we prepare him to put on a mask, and he has to inform the staff if he has any problem with temperature, cough, all the symptoms.
Yeah.
And okay, this is Carmela. She's my secretary. Bye, Carmela.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Now, we don't let them come in before they read this, and then they have to dial the knob and they come in. Over here, what we do first of all, we check the temperature. One moment. In the morning, I check all the staff and myself, and it has to be done contactless. Yeah, I'm 36, it's okay. Next patient, alcohol. One moment, I'll change the camera. Disinfect your hands. Then you put the gloves, small or medium. Then I prepared a solution of hydrogen peroxide 1% with chlorhexidine gluconate. Okay, and the patient takes this and he has to rinse his mouth for 1 minute. I consulted a virologist and this was his recommendation. Okay, I'll take you around. Then the patient comes and sits in the waiting room, either here. We give very spaced, we schedule very spaced, our diary is very spaced. We give 1 hour for something that takes us 30 minutes. Not many patients meet here. You know, we don't let them gather in the waiting room. If we have many dentists, many patients, then we ask them to sit outside. This is Israel, and so it's no problem. They can sit in the garden or in the hammock. And over here. So we have lots of space for the patients to sit in, okay? This is the recommendation and actually the instructions of the Ministry of Health. They just gave us very specific instructions after we insisted to get it very specific, also for a medical legal reason. I wanted to have it in written document signed by the Ministry of Health that this is what I should do. So I am covered. Now in Israel, you don't have to take the temperature. They realized it's not important. Okay, so I still take the temperature because I believe that it's a measure that also makes the patients more relaxed. Okay, they appreciate the fact that we do all these things. Okay,
yeah.
Now this is the lab. Both Pascal and I are certified trainers of Sirona. We know everything, the hardware, the software, and we teach all over the world. We give courses, most specifically in Berlin, in the International Academy for, how do they call it? IDDS, International Academy for Digital Dentistry. Okay, we have here 3 milling units, and I'll explain to you why later, because I'll tell you now, because we do cases in 1 day. CEREC in the Corona era is a very important tool. I didn't realize that until we had this situation, okay? What is the difference? What CEREC enabled me to do? When we were all quarantined at home, and I had a patient, and I came and I realized, okay, no symptoms. He was under quarantine for the last 14 days, no worries. Then I did everything he needed in 1 day. 1 patient, 1 assistant, and me. So we prepared the teeth, we cleaned them, we did inlays, onlays, crowns, and also full mouth. We used to do it routinely, this full mouth thing. If we'll have time, I'll show you a case or cases. Do we have time? Okay, we have time.
Yeah.
Okay, you will tell me when you want me to cut, and I'll cut. So we did cases. We did the full mouth rehabilitation, start to finish. 1 case we did upper and lower, 28. You will see why, okay? It was indicated. Usually I wouldn't do it in 1 day because it's too tiring for me, for the patient, but it was, you know, we had nothing to do, so we did it. So I'm not entitled for any compensation from the government. Was not damaged during the rent. I didn't work a month and a half, but I did all these projects, which I wouldn't usually do in such high concentration. So let's continue the tour of the lab. This is almost the heart of the clinic. I have this, one moment, I'll change the direction. I have 3 furnaces, 1, 2, 3. Why do we need 3? This is called Spitfire. The Spitfire speaks to the milling unit. The milling unit sends all the data to the Spitfire. Which data? The data of the mass of the restoration. With zirconium, we had to do sintering in this furnace for 2 to 7 hours, which means overnight. Today, we don't do that. We do in 14 minutes, 14 minutes, a molar made of zirconia, okay? Because the Sirona Spitfire speaks to the milling unit, which speaks to the acquisition unit. So all the 3 are connected, interconnected via the router, and the restoration is chairside dentistry, also with zirconia. This furnace is the usual furnace of Ivoclar to do all the things we do with porcelain, with lithium disilicate, IMAX, but it can't sinter zirconia. In order to sinter zirconia, we need this furnace or this one. So why do I need the both of them? The small one is a very quick one for chairside dentistry. It can take only up to 3 units. This one is the big one. I can put 60 units in it and also full mouth. So, but it takes longer, from 2 hours to 7 hours. This place is where my staff is doing the stain and glaze. Now it's very artistic, all these stains, but it's very, very simple. It's not as complicated as one might think. And this is Tel Aviv, a picture from Jaffa, done with a Zeppelin. Pascal, my technician, he takes pictures of Israel and places in the world from the air. That's his hobby. These are the raw materials, the blocks. I'm sure you know all of them, but I'll introduce them to you. Enamic. Enamic is a composite material. I call it plastic, and it is plastic, but it's a wonderful plastic because it's like a composite filling without the shrinkage. No shrinkage because it's made in the factory and the curing is in the factory, so no shrinkage.
When would you use the Enamic?
For inlays. Today I use them exclusively for inlay. I used to use these, which are a CEREC block made of porcelain, feldspathic porcelain.
Yeah.
But the Enamic is cut by the machine so smoothly that I use only that for inlays today.
Okay.
Zirconia, this is zirconia multi-layer, beautiful material. You can do even an anterior crown with the zirconia multi-layer and it would look very, very nice. Let me say in advance that it never looks like what a technician would do. The technician would do 100. We do 92, okay? It's clinically acceptable. Patients love it, and for me, it's good enough. Okay, I'll show you cases and you judge for yourself. But I'm not pretentious. I'm not saying it's more beautiful than what the technician would do with layering. But for sure, it's stronger than what the technician would do with layering. How much stronger? I'll tell you how much. The layering porcelain is 80 megapascal, which means 800 kilograms per square centimeter compressive strength. The feldspathic porcelain is 140. The enamic is 200, even more than porcelain, which is great. And the Emax, or the or the lithium disilicate, and also Sirona has a material which is called the Celtra Duo. These materials are 400 megapascals. Now, if you compare it to zirconia, zirconia is 1200 megapascal, 12 tons. 12 tons you need on a square centimeter in order to break this restoration, okay? The multi-layer are 600. Actually, it's 6 tons. It's not as strong as the monochromatic, but it's beautiful. After many years of using these materials, I realized in my hands that some of the data that the companies are selling us are not so accurate. One of them is the finishing line with the lithium disilicate. It's not as smooth as you can get with, if you look at it microscopically, it's not as smooth as you can get with, what's its name? With the zirconia is the first way, and it's absurd because the shrinkage there is about 22%, 22 to 25%. So how during the sintering, so how is this compensation so? If I take the block, of the zirconia, I have a barcode, yeah? And the barcode is combined from a letter and the numbers, 5 numbers. The 5 numbers are the shrinkage. This one is 22.6% shrinkage, okay? And the letters, the I says it's ivoclar, and the S, I don't know. Okay, it has something to do with their internal marking. The material, this material is monochromatic zirconia. Do you see it clearly?
No, it's a little bit out of focus. Now it's fine now. It's good now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so it's a monochromatic zirconia. It's very strong. It's 1200 megapascal. And I use it for a 3 units bridge or for a single crown. Okay?
Okay.
I have also blocks for implants, which you will see later. The block for an implant, if you see the small notch inside, you will see it better in the presentation afterwards. That's where a T-base made of titanium is being cemented. But first, we have to mill this block, and then sinter it, and then do the cementation of the titanium base to the porcelain. And then we screw the crown in, okay? This is an Emax block. Emax is purple, and it turns to its shade, the chosen shade, after crystallization. We have blocks like this for implants from enamic, from this material, enamic composite, which I would use for example, ideally, I would use it for patients with Bruxin, but they refuse to fix this gap of the hole where you put the T-base. One moment, I'll show you. This, where they put the T-base, it's too big. The spacer is too big, so I don't trust it. So I wrote to the company a few times, it's Vita. And I asked them to make it more accurate because there is no shrinkage. I want to have function. But they ignored me, so I don't use it for implants. And I don't recommend to use it for implants. For screw-retained implants. Only for inlays. Okay, I have it here only for example. So, this is the star of my technician.
You should ask him to. You should ask him
For
to.
the milling unit to work, he's used for us. He will. Pascal, London is asking that you play the guitar and prove that you are.
Another Zoom.
We'll make a separate Zoom only with the guitar. So, here, nothing to show. Now we go up and we start with the demo and a small lecture, okay?
Thank you. If anybody wants to put on the chat questions, then we will answer questions afterwards.
Okay. It's very important to have stairs in the clinic, you know, because if somebody can make up the 2 floors up, then he's okay. No worries. I'll start over there and then I'll come over here. Okay. So in order not to have echo,
You have to just mute one of the one of your screens. Okay. In the meantime, if everybody can ask questions, you can type in the question on the chat.
Yeah, just a second.
Michelle's got you. I've got your 3 screens working.
Switching screens now.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm on this one, and I have to close the door because I hear myself from everywhere. Video. Hi.
Now we can see you. Yeah,
Okay.
that's great.
Hi, Richard.
Richard, say hi. Yeah,
Hi.
can see you. So we're about 22 of us from the study group. Yeah.
Nice study group. Okay, so now I'll show you a case of a, just a second, of an implant. Do you see me?
Yeah, we see you.
Okay, so we need to share first. I need you to enable me again. One moment. I'm here. Large share screen.
You should just be able to, share screen.
And yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Okay, do you see?
Yeah, perfect. That's good.
Okay.
So now you just need, yeah, perfect.
This is about 200 slides of what are the possibilities of CAD-CAM dentistry. And my specialty is chair-side CAD-CAM dentistry. CAD-CAM is not new. I haven't invented it, but I wrote a book about it. So whoever wants to, do you see the mouse? Yeah?
Yeah.
You see the pointer?
Yeah, it's gone, but we did see it.
Good. So this, okay. Maybe I'll do it like this. Pointer options, felt. Nah, it's too small. One moment. Pointer options.
It's okay. It's okay. We could see that. Yeah, that's good.
I can. One moment. Pointer option. Arrow. Okay.
Is
So
the book on Amazon? Your book?
Yeah. This book is on Amazon. Advanced Computerized Chairside Dentistry. And if you read this book, it's a step-by-step of what I do.
Okay. Again, Tel Aviv. You see here the Hassan Bek Mosque. You see the textile center, reading, and the beautiful, beautiful beach. Of course, this picture is taken from Jaffa, from south to north. I'm going to show you this case. Okay, you see here 246 is missing. It's very simple, straightforward case. Here you see all the steps. We put the implant, we do the exposure of the implant, we put a cover screw, a healing cap, then we take the impression with the scan post, and we design and make the crown, which is a screw retained crown. I'll take you through the steps. Step 1, all this case has been done digitally. Meaning that I start. I send the scan to a laboratory, and I also send the CT to the laboratory. Okay? Then I sit with the laboratory with Skype. And this case, I was in Germany. The laboratory is in Yehud. And we were connecting via Skype and designing the case. Why do I need that? This is a very straightforward case. Lots of bone, no problem. But this patient is a terrible bruxer, and I wanted to position the implant exactly in the right position, so the screw would be over here. Yeah, so the line of insertion of the implant would be to the palatal aspect, to the functional outer aspect of the upper antagonist tooth. More so, the bone looks, so I have to position the implant in bone and to try and get bicortical stabilization from this bone and this bone. All this in the middle is nothing. Why do I say it's nothing? Because I know. And we realized that when we put the implant in, we didn't get with the small diameter, we didn't get good primary stability. So instead of enlarging the cavity, I just put a wider implant, I squeezed the bone a little bit, and I got primary stability. My first implant was placed 35 years ago, I think, or 37 years ago. And except for the rest of the important things, is primary stability. No primary stability, no implant. So this is the design, how we do it, and we take care with this. And I wanted to put the implant exactly in the bifurcation of the extracted tooth, because the bifurcation is the only place where I have solid bone, some bone. So I don't do guides for every case, but today I think about 80% of the cases are guided because it's easier. I get the implant, I get the healing cap, the proper healing cap, I get the superstructure parts, everything, not the crown. I don't like to do immediate loading. I do the conventional way. In the lower arch, I wait 3 months. In the upper, 4 months. If the bone is soft, then I would wait more. The last patient I had today, she has 6 months in the mouth with the implant, and I didn't, because I put the implant 6 months ago and the bone was very spongy. I don't trust the implant for the final tightening. So I did the provisional, and it's not tightened to the 30 Newton per centimeter that I usually do. So what is the outcome of all these impressions that we took? This is the outcome. I get this box with the guide, and the guide is 3D printed, and it sits perfectly in the mouth. I do the guides, or even before I had set like they did sit, because I took impression as we take impressions for conventional impressions. I used Implant gum, and I had to work on the guide in order to make it sit properly. These sit properly from start. I don't have to touch them. It's very accurate system. Since I don't see you, I hope that you are with me. I don't know.
Yeah, we are. It's very good. So the technician makes your digital screen. Your technician makes that stent for you. Michelle, you're on mute.
One moment. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Your technician can do it for you with a Formlabs printer, 3D printing, but it takes so much time today, still today, it takes a lot of time. It's a very messy job. That's why I don't like this. I don't want to do this at home. I do it in Dividend, which is the distributor of MIS implants. They mess with all these composite material, and it's very dirty. The printing takes about 1 hour, and then they have to work on it and clean it, and it's about 4 hours work. But if you have many cases, you can do most of them together, put them in the solvent together, and so on and so forth. I don't want to do it yet, because I want to do chairside dentistry quickly, efficiently, so the patient won't have to stay here for ages. And I don't want to stay here for ages. I want to finish my day of work and go home, see my grandkids.
Yeah, I see. Our technician is watching. So his name is Brian. So he's watching the whole procedure, so you can see. Yeah. Great.
I presume.
So, Brian,
I presume there's a collaboration then between the technician and yourself to do the actual designing and placement.
Of course. Sometimes I'm not the one who puts. I'm a prosthodontist, so I don't always put the implant in. I have an oral surgeon to do it with me. So sometimes we sit in trio. He would be somewhere in Jerusalem, I'll be in Tel Aviv, and the lab is somewhere else, and we get in touch together on Skype.
Beauty of digital dentistry.
We design, and in the end we get the result. But for a technician to do it, it's no problem. It's simple, and it's getting better and better all the time. Shorter periods. It's not so long to do it today as it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's too messy. I don't want to do. I don't want it in the clinic yet. When I'll feel that that's the time to do it, I'll tell you, Linda.
Okay. No, but it's good for Brian to see the design that you showed, because that's what he can do soon.
Yes, he can do it, no problem. But it's not like that, because you need the whole set of, let me go back. This sleeve is very accurate, and the top of the sleeve is always 10 millimeters above the bone. So I have drills, and the drills are with a stopper and with a cylinder that fits in here. So I can even drill without looking, because I have a stopper and I can't change the direction of the or the drilling. All the steps via the cylinder. The drilling If I need to do tapping, I do tapping. If it's a strong bone, it's very tough bone. And I insert the implant rotatory. After 3 months, he came back. I remove the healing cap, and you see what a beautiful emergence profile I have here. Do you see are you with me? Maybe.
Yes, yes, we're with you. I see.
Okay. Now I start the scanning, sorry. The scanning has to be done with a scan post. The scan post is an element made of titanium. I put it in, it has this small notch over here, a protrusion. The notch is in a nylon cap that sits on top of that. I'll show you later. And I make an X-ray. I take this X-ray, is the first one I do after 3 months. This is the time when I check the ankylosis of the implant to see that everything is okay. If you are an experienced implantologist, you see that I might have a problem here. You see the bone covers the implant, and it will create a lot of problems inserting the crowns. Only if I remove this bone, I would have a smooth insertion. I'm emphasizing this point because I had a problem here.
So that's what you did. You took the little bit of bone away.
No, I did not, and I will show you what happens when you do not. Whenever I teach or lecture or show something that I do, I show real things with real problems. This is a big problem, and I didn't solve it yet. I will solve it in 3 months. I will let the bone here dissolve now. I'll show you later, okay? You will see exactly what I speak about. So I put this in, I scan. This is the manufacturing. This is after sintering. This is the notch where the protrusion gets in. This is anti-rotation notch. It's too small in my opinion. In this case, since the patient has very strong lateral forces, the cusps are very smooth and shallow. And the base is huge here. I use the wide titanium T-base. This is the T-base. It's called T-base because it's like a T if you turn it upside down. This is an implant analog, and this is the final screw to connect the work. What happens here is that we put this in here, we screw it in. I take Teflon, plumber's Teflon, condense it inside, and then I do cementation of this region to this. And then with this key, I put it in the mouth. We will see how we do it. The sintering process, in this case, is done in this furnace, 1700 degrees, 14 minutes. That's how it comes out. And after cooling, it gets its color. It needs to be polished. I do not glaze zirconia. Why? Because glazing is more abrasive than polished zirconia. If you want to go deep into it, just read the Natanzon's and Avishai Sadan's study done in 2004 comparing abrasion of antagonists by restorative materials. And very surprisingly, what they found and proved is that if we scale them, number one, abrasive is glaze, number two is, number three is lithium disilicate, number four is zirconia. So glaze is the worst.
Just to tell you, we've got Dr. Margolis coming in from Switzerland. He's just joined us. Dr. Margolis.
Welcome. Now, how do we connect all these parts? First of all, we take hydrofluoric acid. We put it inside the region of the friction with the metal. Then we wait. Of course, you have to wear goggles because this material is deadly. You'll get blind if you have one drop in your eye. Hydrofluoric acid is a very, very strong acid. Don't underestimate it. Don't let your staff play with it without proper protection. Rinse it with water, plenty of water. It is red, and you rinse it until all the red is gone. Then you dry it, and next material we put ceramic primer, and we put the ceramic primer also on the top of the T-base. Then I take this material, which is called Multilink by Ivoclar, and it's opaque in order to hide the metal so it won't show gray. We put it on top and we do the cementation. We put them in, notch for protrusion. We make sure that it's tight, and then we clean it before it sets with the gauze. We clean it, we wait 6 minutes. If you don't wait 6 minutes, when you put this in the mouth, the pressure of the gums would take it out, separate it. That's the final restoration. And now we put it in the mouth. I remove the healing cup. Of course, all this time the patient sits in the waiting room. It takes about 40 minutes to do the lab work. The patient sits in the waiting room, and I put the healing cup back. Otherwise, the gums would shrink, and it will be very painful to insert it. I do the insertion of the implant, in this case, of the crown, sorry, with local anesthetic. Why? Because the pressure on the gums is very high, very strong. I use Cosodil gel in the implant as a routine. I don't think there is any work that says it's good, but on the same way, there is no work that says that it's not good. So I do it intuitively. And during the years that I use it, I realized that if I remove a screw retain crown, I don't have this terrible smell of anaerobic bacteria.
So where do you put it? You put it into the healing socket, into the healing area?
Into the implant. Into the implant.
Okay.
Into the implant, all the way in. And then I take the crown and I put it in, and I tighten it with this spring, which gives me 30 newtons per square centimeter. No, sorry, 30 Newton per centimeter, not per square centimeter. That's the force that I use. In this case, I think I also used 35 because I was very confident with this implant. Then I take this Teflon again, plumber's Teflon, I shove it in. Why Teflon? Because, you know, wherever water doesn't go, bacteria wouldn't go. And Teflon does the job. Teflon is a very useful material in my clinic. I use it also as a retraction cord. I use it for plugging the rubber dam, for many things. And it's $1 per pack. And it's very good material. So I plug it in, and I plug it with the amalgam condenser. And then I take bonding. I put bonding. And after the bonding, I put SDR of Dentsply, which has a very high flow bulk fill composite, curing, light curing, and bye-bye. That's it. Finished case. I make an X-ray just to see that all is well. I had to fight here a lot in order to make it sit all the way in, because I had a lot of pressure from the bone. So I removed slowly, slowly. And if you look here, I'm not all the way in. So I will wait for 3 months and then I'll open it again and I'll put it in. I try not to mill bone around the implant because it will make life easier for me, but it's an uncontrolled, unpredictable feature. If I take bone, I don't know where it will stop. So from my experience, it's better to do it, you know, slowly. Let nature do take its course, as long as the patient doesn't suffer. These are other cases which I'll show you later, but I want to go now to the Omnicam and share with you. Yes.
Can I ask you one question? When you're seating down,
one moment, I'll stop share.
You go back to that X-ray.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're seating that crown and you're screwing the crown down, how much tightness do you get interproximally? Because that's one of my big areas where the implant crown and the teeth, we want to be able
to... Contact points, you mean?
What do you design on the, on the implant?
Do you have Omnicam?
Yeah, I've got the new one.
I use listen, each color, it has colors, and we'll go and do it now.
Great.
Real life, so you will see exactly how I do it. But each color is 25 microns in plus. It starts with the ciel bleu.
Yeah.
And then it goes to green, and then it goes to red. So it's 25 plus, 50 plus, 75 plus. I go to 50 plus.
Okay.
And it depends, and also depends on the material. I do 50 plus with zirconia. With Emax, I always get a bigger restoration than I aim to. So I go to blue, which is 25. Hi, Mark. Okay?
I got the...
Can I move to the other room? Can I move to the other room?
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah.
So now I go over here to Pascal. Just a moment. Shall I turn this off? No, I'll leave it because...
Leave that on.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any questions, just please type it into the chat so that we can answer, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions. I'll have quite a few myself, but I'm sure you will have. Just type them in. Pascal is the dental technician, Brian, who works chairside with Dr. Perez Davidi. So Pascal does this, he also does the assisting, he does the suctioning, he does all that.
Okay.
And the singing as well. You saw the guitar. Last time I watched, he was playing the guitar, and then he goes to make the crown.
Okay, cool. That's a good little combination.
Yeah, I think it's really key to have them all connected together. And he was really pioneering, Dr. Davidi, when he saw that the abilities that we could be achieved. He went straight for it. Probably more than 15 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been very, very advanced in doing this.
It's a nice operation there.
Yeah. So now it's nice to be able to watch. Yeah. A live demo.
There we go.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Are we with me?
Yeah, we can see. Yeah. Brilliant.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay. And you see the screen. Perfect. Yeah. So you see me from the side now. Do you see the mouse?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Okay. First stage is administration. One moment. I should move this. Can. More. Okay. First stage, I have to put the patient's name and ID number and everything. And then I have to define the restoration. Most job now is automatic. I'm going to do it very slowly, but in real time, I do it very quickly. It takes about 7 minutes, start to finish. Okay, all the scanning and design and everything. Okay? If I have multiple cases, then I do one, and then I continue with the patient, and Pascal is sitting with the computer and continuing the job. When we do a full mouth, of course, I don't touch the computer. All the work is done by Pascal. He sits next to me, and he's running the units one by one, or 3 by 3, and I continue gradually to prepare the teeth. I'll show you a case like that, okay? But let's continue with this implant, okay? So I let it auto-detect means that I have to define that I want to do a screw-retained crown, okay? And first of all, I'll erase that one moment. I'll erase that, yes. Now, I'll go back here. Now, from start, I have no definitions here. So, I want to do a screw-retained crown, but I can do a crown, a bridge, or a guide. You can do a guide with the milling unit, but it's only for 1 or 2 units. For this case, I could do the guide. My cereals are expensive, and I don't want to play with it. It takes a long time. So as long as it's the same price, and it takes me no time to do the scanning, then I prefer that the lab will do it for me. And I can do as many units as I want, implants. So I define screw-retained crown and biogeneric individual. I let the computer decide on the shape, but we help it. And now I have to tell the computer the material, the manufacturer. So I say the crown would be Dentsply Ivoclar, and in this case, for example, IPS Emax. I have to choose out of these 3 milling units which milling unit to do. This milling unit is called IRA, and it has a dry capability. It means that it can do dry milling. Where is it important? When you want to do a zirconia restoration. In zirconia restoration, after you want to sinter it, if you have to dry it, you add 20 minutes to the scheduled time. So if you do dry milling, it's shorter in 20 minutes. Now, in this case, I take Pascal's machine, okay, which is a wet one, and now I select the T-base. T-base meaning that I choose the company that makes the implant, and I choose, in this case, I cheat. I choose MIS 3.5 to 5 millimeters, but I have a trick here. Since I want to use a large T-base, the largest there is, then I take Zimmer 5.7. Why Zimmer 5.7? Because it's the same hex as the MIS implant, and they have this accuracy of milling the part, the restoration, to fit the T-base, the wide T-base. Usually, I choose, as I told you, MIS 3.5 to 5. It doesn't matter, okay? Now I have to tell the computer with which element do I take the impression, the scanning. With the T-base, it's possible, or with the scan post. Now here you see why I usually use scan post. Because scan post has a transgingival element which is longer. So I can see if this nylon piece sits on top exactly where it should. With the T-base, it would all be under the gingiva, and I will not be able to see if the scan body sits properly. Then the outcome degrees to the another direction. Do you follow? Okay. So I many times specify that point to Sirona, telling them erase this possibility. T-base would create a lot of problems. Scan post always. So I use scan post and more. If I want to do face smile design, then I do smile design. But in this case, of course, I don't need that. And I always activate the articulator. Always. Okay? And what happened? Okay. I had to choose the מה, עוד פעם מההתחלה? Okay, so you have to see it again. I did a mistake here. And light is back. I mark the tooth that I want to scan. I activate the articulator and I check everything here. One moment. So I see that I do a screw retained crown, biogeneric individual, ivoclar Vivodent, on machine, meaning unit Pascal. And I use the wide base. I scan with a scan post, and the scan post is going, the T-base is going to be the wide one. Good. All is well. If I want to change something, this is the time to do it, and I can do it also later. No problem. I can change my mind. Next stage, scan. It's already scanned, okay? What I scan, each rectangle here is called catalog. And here I have a library of catalogs, okay? Automatically, I get 4 catalogs. The lower gel, which would be scanning without the healing cap. And in this stage, I put an emphasis on the contact points, contact regions, because later on, I'm going to have here the scan post. And the scan post is going to hinder my access to this area. This hole over here is no big deal. This is no problem because it's outside of the region.
I always worry that
this also is no problem, but this region has to be perfect.
We always worry that with those blue areas that we have to rescan it to get it absolutely as accurate as possible.
No, no, no. You have to scan only what's important. You have to insist on what's important. What is important? The occlusal surface, the contact regions, and the buccal aspect. Why the buccal aspect? Because the algorithm for the articulating of the two arches is superimposing the picture you see here on this picture of the buccal bite. Okay, and what it takes into consideration, you can't see any difference from this region, but this shape is very important. If you take a clear view of the buccal aspect, then you're in a good place. What about the lingual? I take the lingual, but it's only because I'm arrogant and snob. You don't have to. Really, you don't have to. It has no significance whatsoever for the the restoration. And the antagonist, now you see the patient is a Bruxer, crazy, like crazy, really. The 246, which we took out, of course, was fractured. The root was cracked, so we had to take it out. And until it came, we lost a lot of bone. That's why the bone looks so bad. And I also put BioGuide immediately after the extraction in order to augment the bone. And I waited 6 months until I invited him to do the CT and the implant. Okay? So this is the second catalog. Now, about cutting. Yes? If I cut something here, then the computer would recalculate the whole things that it already calculated. So if you have your computer stuck somewhere, go back to this stage, cut a little piece over here, and everything will be done again. It's like reset. You don't have to reset your computer for that. This is a small trick. I take this and then I take the buccal and I take it as long as I need to see this green marker. At the moment that I have it, I continue a little bit just so I can see that the patient is biting correctly, and that's it. Next step is the scan body lower. Scan the body lower is you have to make sure that you have the whole table over here with the pyramid and a connection with the gums. If you don't have the connection with the gums, it has a problem. The software has a problem of adjusting two programs together, two catalogs together, the lower and this catalog. And the more, and what I do also, I use this stage in order to make sure that this is continual. If it's not, then you have to fix it. If you use a T-base for this purpose, then you won't be able to see it. You've seen in the beginning how deep is the emergence profile here. It's about 4 millimeters. And over here, I also have this green marker, which shows that the computer knows now where the implant is in the environment. Okay? It has its X, Y, Z. Next step, the computer would calculate in the background all the time. The more developed the software, most of the calculations are done in the background. While I'm talking, it did the calculations. One of the calculations that it did, it changed a 2-dimension picture into a 3D structure. It's like the technician who is pouring plaster into the model, to the imprint. Okay? I have this, and you see this region over here, it's no problem. It has no effect on anything. Okay? What's important is the contact regions and occlusal surfaces. Next stage, everything has been done automatically, but can be done manually. Why was it done automatically? Because the software had no questions. But if at the end I see something which is bizarre, I would go to this screen and I would start to do everything manually. The thing that I have to do here, obligatory, all these greens means that it's okay. Never trim the model. You don't need to trim the model. Technicians love to trim models because they're used to it, but in the digital world, you don't trim models. I have to click the scan body head, double click it. So I always make it bigger and I double click. Now, at that moment, the software knows where the implant is placed. and where the hex is, how the hex is positioned. Next stage is I have to draw the outline of the crown. Okay, I say use gingival mask. One moment. Use gingival mask. What does it mean? It means that it has this cavity over here. It would draw something which is taking into consideration the real situation. If I don't use gingival mask and I make this disappear, what you see here is a perfect outline of a 246. But can you put this into this small hole? No, you can't. So I use gingival mask and I redesign it. First of all, tip number one, don't do more than 180 degrees. Less struggling with the restoration afterwards. Struggling meaning a lot of pressure on the gingiva. You can do one of two things. Either you create a provisional bridge, a crown, and you create an emergence profile. And then you do exactly the shape that you desire. And you use the gingival mask. You don't use the gingival mask because you have a nice shape already. But alas, computerized dentistry made me a worse dentist. And I want to do it today. So no emergence profile. I don't fight for the emergence profile anymore. I use big healing cups. I get what you saw. And then I squeeze the crown in. And when you remove the crown after 3 months, if you do, then you see a beautiful emergence profile. Beautiful. So, small corrections. Rhomboid shape. Change angles of what you see. And now we go further and we let the computer do its job. Something was missing here. So today, in the new scanner, they combined AI that sends data to Sirona, and they realized that 95% of the crowns designed by the computer are sent the manufacturing stage. No handwork anymore. We usually play with the crown because we are used to. But let's check if I wouldn't touch that, what would happen? So what I will do is I'll ask the occlusal compass. I'll activate the occlusal compass and check, do I have a problem here? What might be the problem? If I would have a contact here, one moment. This is called cross-tooth balance. Now, this is a question, if Moti is still on, he knows that I'm crazy about that point, because this is the major point of breaking crowns. Usually, when you have a porcelain crown breaking, it would be the lingual cusp. Why would it be? Because when we do negative carving with wax, with whatever, even this software is doing negative carving virtually. So when you do negative carving, you have no imprint on the lingual cusps, which are guiding. So when you use the articulator and you do a movement, the working side would be the right side over here, And if you have the disarticulating on this cusp, then it would break. It's only a matter of time. And I wish this would break and not the implant. Okay? So I always erase this. Even this, what you see here, is too high for me. I don't need this. So I would reduce it. Now, we try to avoid using the smooth tool on the occlusal surface because it erases most of the morphology. So we get a piece of bean or something like that. So we use only the circular, and that's what we use. Now here I have a small problem. Where is the... Oh, here it is. One moment. This is not important. I want to show you this. Lateral protrusion. If I do protrusion, this over here, do you see the yellow? Do you see the yellow? Yeah. So this yellow is problematic. The patient would do lateral protrusion to the right side, and it would have hindrance over there. It would help. It would create a problem. It wouldn't break, but it would create a problem. So now I take the smooth, I make it as small as this spot, and I erase it. And it's gone. And since it's gone here, it's gone in the mouth. So when I put the crown in the mouth, I have no problems with movements.
Can I ask, may I ask you a question?
Of course.
On the distal, many patients complain when you fit the implant crowns that there's too much space interproximally and they have to clean a lot. So on the distal of this tooth that you designed, I like it to be a little bit more extended so there's not such a big open space. How do you...
I'll show you how to do it. I don't do it. I give them interproximal brush, but I'll show you how to do it. I go back. Over here, nobody said I have to put this line over here. I can put it like this. Okay, maybe not too much, okay? And over here, the same. Now let's redesign. Now, if you look at the restoration, you see that the interproximal region is better. Is it healthier? No, it's not, but it's better. Now, in this case, I have to reshape the intergingival part. So I kick away the, where is it? The model. Yeah. And one moment, just for you can see. Okay, let's put also the implant so you have the whole picture. And at this stage, I take the smooth tool. I make it, one moment. I make it bigger. And I just, maybe I'll make it smaller. With the strength, I use the 100% strength of the instrument that I do, of the tool. It's very strong, so it makes big corrections very quickly. If you are having problem with this, you can make it, 50% or something like that. Then you have to really work more, but it's okay. We don't work with a shovel. All we do is click with the mouse. It's okay. Yeah. So it would enter the emergence profile without too much pressure. Some pressure is desirable, but not too much pressure. The measurement is we put the crown in, we get blanching of the gene in 20 minutes, then we have to remove the crown and make it smaller, the diameter. 20 minutes, no more. More than 20 minutes will get ischemia and necrosis, and I never had it, but that's the Torah in this case.
So
Okay?
you mentioned also that you use a corsadil inside the implant when you seat this.
Yes,
If
first
the
of the
patient-
gelatin.
The gel. If the patient is allergic, can you use another gel? Many
Yeah,
patients are allergic to
yeah. Any antiseptic material is good.
hydrogen peroxide also.
Yes, yes, no problem. It's good material. Very good. I would use no more than 3% hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, this is nice. Yeah, now let's put again the this, and at this stage I put the antagonist. Now, if I want to cheat, I don't create strong contacts, but I don't want to cheat. Why? Because I prefer that this implant would participate in the occlusion, because this patient is a grinder and he's young. So I prefer that this would be the stopper, the limiter. So what would I do? I can do it automatically. I go over here and I ask it to create contacts, but it won't. Why it won't? Because I'm too backward. I'm now in 246. If I was anteriorly, it can do the automatic. So I'll do it manually. No more than this. It's okay. And in the marginal ridge area. Now, this is very nice. I don't want to see in the midline. Okay, so this is very nice. Over here I have some yellow. It's not important, so I'll remove it.
So you want very slight light blue contact, very, very minimal.
Yes, yes. He would grind his way to very strong contact on this crown. I don't want it to be done in too short a period of time.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for the crown for about 5 years. I believe in 5 years it'll be okay.
Okay.
Okay, after that it's not my problem. No, seriously, that's the occlusion that I prefer. You see how his bite is so strong. Yeah, all this is not normal bite. You ask him to close his teeth, don't put your finger there. Okay, now let's go to your weak spot, the contact area. I always remove the model and I check it out. I prefer surface, not a point, not contact point, contact area. So what we do is we make it big. This is a perfect contact point, by the way. But let's try, and one moment. Let's make it larger. Okay? Just to show you how you play with it. And then I take the smooth. And from the inside, I go around and I play with it until I get to the green. I'm not used to work on less than 100. Now, if it's not going more, because the smooth tool is only make it smoother. So if it's already smooth, then I'll have to take the circular, make it big, and reduce, that's it. Yeah, and this small spot, the yellow one, would be removed. I had a hole here again. Yeah, that's a perfect one. Now I have to check it from the side to see if I didn't create something bad here. No, it's okay. If it was me, for my patients, I would create here a continual line. But your patient wouldn't like that. And it's good, it's okay, it's legal, you can do that. You know, patients hate embrasures, specifically in the anterior region. I close diastemas on this way. If I have a diastema which I want to close, I do it by drawing the finishing line of the gum mesially to the central, and then I shape it with the smooth tool.
So,
okay.
So then just a last question on that distal part, where it's designed on the, just where I would like to see that here. Can you see mine? Can you see here?
I don't see what you do.
Okay, so just on the distal, as it comes in, then I want it very, very thin there. You see?
Over here,
Yeah.
let me put the gums, okay, and you'll understand. I put the gums. Now, when you look at it, and you look from the inside, you see that I have the lotus over here, but over here, the finish line is over here. So you have this step in order to close the embrasure. Yeah? If you close it more than that, you will have the embrasure in the undercut, and you won't be able to insert the crown.
Got it. Yeah.
You need this for path of insertion. Okay? If you don't have an undercut here, if you don't have this angle, one moment. If you don't have this angle, this undercut, then you can go all the way to the gums. But in a year, you will have the gums receding over here. You will always have papillitis here. Always. You have to let saliva go through. You have to enable the patient to clean with some proxy brush, some interdental tool. Okay? Next step. Since I touched the crown, I always check it again with the articulator. And since I touched it again, I have this yellow spot appearing again. So I don't want this. This is occlusal contact, it's okay. No problem. That's it. I like it. I send it to manufacturing. Now, a small tip. Let's go back to the scan. One moment. Not to the scan, to the model I will go. I have so many model. One moment. Small tip, very important tip. This protrusion should be in mesial or distal. Never on buccal or. Why is that? Because the sprue will always be positioned in the lingual or buccal. You don't want the sprue in the contact region. It's a very important tip. Okay? Questions?
Sometimes the sprue moves on its own.
No, it can't. Because the sprue, one moment, I'll go back here. I'll clean the, no. And This goes here. Yeah. You see the screwings of the lingual here.
Yeah.
Now, why is that? Because on the lower aspect of the block, you have the notch, and the notch goes into the protrusion that you have on the T-base or the scan post, whatever. So if you put the T-base over here with the notch over here or over here, then the screw will always be to the lingual or to the bottom, because the notch is always to this side of the hole or this side of the cavity.
Okay.
Okay, 90 degrees. You cannot change direction of you cannot rotate the restoration over here. So we send it to manufacturer, and it will take about 30 minutes, and then we'll sinter it, and then we'll put it in, and that's the end of it. Okay?
Okay.
Questions until now?
I'm sure there are lots of questions. I'm just going to check on the chat.
So I'm going to leave this. Do I need this? No, I don't know. I don't think so.
So Michelle, there's a question from Bonim. He wants to know the difference between cementable implant crowns and screw-in implant crowns. Can you discuss that?
Yes. Well, through the decades of working on implants, I've been screw-retained, cemented, screw-retained, cemented, screw-retained. It's a matter of mode, and if I fail in this way, then I move to this way, and the harder the failure, the more defined is my change of direction. Now, in the last decade, I do screw retained wherever possible. I like the retrievability. I like the fact that I don't have cement in the gingival area. I hate cement. Cement is caused me a lot of problems with peri-implantitis, peri-implant mucositis, many problems. A lot of problems with cement. Debonding, I prefer screw retained. And since I am a chairside dentist, I do the crowns myself. It's easy for me to do it cemented or screw retained. It's the same. The same time, everything's the same. But I find that the margin of the transgingival part of the crown, this part, is so healthy. And over the years, I see that it's very consistently healthy. It's very easy for the patient to clean. I'm sure I don't have cement down there. And if I have a problem, I can always remove the crown. All of us had to remove a cemented bridge on titanium implants and post. It's hell to remove it. It's hell to cut it, and you don't know. Did I finish to cut it? Am I cutting the titanium post? I don't know what I'm cutting. Here, all you have to do is unscrew, and that's it. And we do need, from time to time, to go back to our restorations and to remove them and to fix something, treat something. So today, in this decade, I prefer screw retains, and also for big jobs. If we have time and you want me, I'll show you, because if I continue, we have a case of a big case. Now we can go to big cases. This is a small case. Did you get your answer?
Bonim, I'll just check with Bonim. I think he got the answer.
Can you mark the covering of the cement?
I do also.
You can't see there's a screw hole there.
What was the question?
Bonim, can you just ask the question again? You want to know where the cement is?
Can you ask where the cement is so you can't see the screw hole? Mine always look very grey.
It's no problem at all. When you use the T-base, if you have enough vertical dimension, the T-base is so deep that, you know, it's a 4.5, 4.6 millimeters high. You don't see it. But if you do, then you have to use, I usually use SDR, which is very transparent and you can see it. But you can use Core X. Core X is my material of choice for posts, immediate posts, that I do on teeth. And it's a composite. I don't use amalgam anymore. I don't use cast post anymore. I do only composite on fiber post. And this material is very white. Very white. And they have also the same material in tooth shade, A2. And it's very opaque. So you use that in order to seal the gap, the hole. And you can also use a normal composite that you plug it in, but I don't like it because the shrinkage there, I prefer bulk film. It flows in, it seals it very nicely, and you don't have a problem, you don't have to do too much work with it. And I had many opportunities to remove it. It's very easy. You remove, you take a drill, you go in, you take out the Teflon, and you are there. It's no big deal.
Can I ask you, how deep do you make the Teflon and how much bulk fill? Will you give it 2 millimeters?
Well, it depends on my assistant. She makes this small roll. She gives it to me. If it's big, then it's not big deep. If it's small, then it's deep.
And then
no logic behind it, but never use 2 pieces. Use only 1 piece.
Of Teflon?
Because if you use 2 pieces or 3 pieces, then when you remove it and it's deep, you don't know, did I remove everything or not? But if you remove and you see that it got out, then it's very easy. You take the key and you unscrew the implant, the restoration. So use 1 piece. Now there are also commercially available Teflons that go exactly to the cavity, and you cut a piece of it and you plug it in. I never played with it because we do well with the Teflon.
So Ilana wants to know, how reliable is the bite? So you've assessed it digitally, you've planned it, and now you go and screw it in. How reliable is it?
There is a feature in the software which is called the Occlusal Offset. The offset, which we tend to ignore. Yes, Brian. I see that your eyes are lit.
Yeah, what we find when we're milling, different materials, you need to set the offset differently. And with zirconia, we almost always have to do an offset of about 0.5 millimeters.
No, with zirconia, I don't do offset at all.
Really?
Zirconia is so accurate. It's unbelievable.
I think that's probably a software issue.
Emacs, I had lots of problems and my curve was very long. And after a year, I think I realized that I had to offset in 100 microns, minus 100 microns for Emacs.
Okay.
For zirconia, 0.
Really?
No, yeah, zirconia is very accurate.
Oh,
good zirconia, yeah. If you buy China or something like this.
No, I think it's not so much as zirconia because we get very accurate fit on the interproximal contacts. But whether we use a 3-shape system or an ExoCAD system, we always find a high bite if we don't do an offset.
Go away. I'm a steric person. ExoCAD is very nice for big restorations. It's very bad for single crowns. Very bad.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. It's HTML. It's a completely different algorithm. Exactly. And it's very nice for the technician to do big jobs. Yeah. And that's what the technicians should do still, the big jobs. Yeah. But single crowns, no.
Yeah,
I prefer Sirona for that.
Yeah.
And the other way around, I don't like Sirona for big jobs. Mm-hmm. So what I do is maybe I'll continue with my demonstration, not demonstration, with the presentation.
Great, thank you.
And I'll show you what I do, what can be done with Sirona. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think Dr. Margolin wants to ask a question, but he's on mute.
Okay.
Come back on.
Yeah, hi.
Hello, shalom, shalom, Michael.
Shalom.
Yafé מאוד. Now, it's very nice. I've been also doing, I agree with you 100%. I've been doing such Emax crowns for over 4.5 years, and they're terrific. The implant crowns are great.
But after 5 years, you will start seeing fractures. Lots of fractures.
At the
And
moment,
yeah, and that's funny.
Yeah.
And when Dentsply Sirona came out with their Celtra Duo, which is a competitor to Emax, they declared that after 5 years, they have 0% of breaking, and Emax has 30%. And I was laughing and I was said, come on, this is not fair to say that. It's so biased. But since I use Emax for many years, I tell you, after 5 years, you have cracks.
Yeah. With my normal,
if you touch Emax, if you touch it with diamond, it's gone. You have to polish it.
Yeah, of course.
And polish it the proper way, which is 1 moment.
No, I always polished it very carefully. I was a dental technician, I know.
Okay, these are the set that you have to use in order to polish, and you use for each material its polishing wheels. Don't spare yourself with this because you will have lots of failures.
With Emax generally, I have actually only have had over 12 years with Emax inlays. I don't do crowns. Crowns I've been doing with the CEREC. I've only ever had one Emax inlay that broke on me that a lab did with a Bruxa. Otherwise, I've never ever had an Emax that's failed on me. Never in 12 years.
Yes, the lab can do a better job because they do Emax with pressing.
Yeah. But I've only, since I've been using even the CEREC, and before that with the lab crowns, I've never had any failures.
Try Anamic for inlays. And why is that? Because Anamic is being cut by the milling unit so smoothly and so accurately that it's just great. And then you take these rubber wheels and you just polish it in the mouth, and it takes seconds. You know, it takes me 20 minutes to do an MOD inlay. 20 minutes from injection to clearing the excess cement.
Yeah, for sure. I've done similar things with Ceresmart, with the Ceresmart.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same. I have no experience with that, but I hear from my colleagues that it's good material.
Yeah, can I ask you about the Celtra Duo? How often are you using that?
I stopped using it because they don't have blocks which you can use for 3 units bridge or Marylands. I do many Marylands splints, and they have only this 14 block, which is too small. It's only for single units. So I had a large stock. I finished it, and I didn't restore it because I don't see. I want to wait. I want to wait. In 5 years, they launched it 2 years ago. 2 years ago. In 3 years, I will tell you. I'm waiting.
And for single units?
Only for single units. It's very nice material. I will show you in a moment.
Okay, great. Sorry, we interrupted you.
Shall we continue to the presentation?
Yes, please.
Please stop me whenever. Okay.
I think that we want to hear this a little bit more about the presentation, and we'll stop in 20 minutes.
All right.
With everybody.
So
you're going to move screens.
I have to stop sharing. Stop sharing.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. And now,
now I want to start sharing here. Share screen. And share.
Okay, I think Dr. Harrison had a question.
Go ahead.
Dr. Harrison? You wanted to, I'm not sure whether you put a note on the chat. I don't know. Okay, carry on. Don't worry, carry on.
Okay. This poor lady, on top of all her problems, fell on this lateral all the way to the pulp. I had to do a root canal and a crown. I'm showing it because it has a story. So the crown here has a mistake. Yeah, that's the crown. What is the mistake? Can you tell me, Linda?
Well, it depends what the mistake is, but
it's too gray.
It's
okay?
a little bit gray and it's slightly, very slightly long.
Okay, so it's a little bit gray, and I'll tell you why. Because my mistake was to use the high translucent Emax. High translucent is good for nothing. HT, it's good for nothing. It's gray, and it stays gray, and it becomes grayer. Never use it.
Okay.
Only LT, low translucency. Now you see this tooth over here, overlapping here. This tooth also overlapped over here, yeah? Now let's continue. The same lady comes back 5 years later, another knock on the mouth. She's not she doesn't have a problem with her husband. I know her husband, I know her whole family. Yeah, she just falls down, that's it. And she falls on her teeth. So she broke this one. So you see the grayish 5 years later. And now I have to do, I planned to do a veneer. But I know that Dr. Bonim would do a laminate, would do a composite, but she wanted me to also try and straighten the tooth and make it very strong for the next form. So, preparation. I have my own set. I developed it with an Israeli company, which is called Strauss Diamonds. I have this wheel for a depth cutter, which cuts exactly to 0.7 millimeters. I use it on the buccal aspect and on the lingual aspect, if I need in the lingual aspect. Then I take T6, a chamfer, prepare for the veneer. But when I prepared for the veneer, I realized that I have caries over here, and I decided to go on full coverage. So I prepared the tooth, and when I finish the preparation, I use a Magic Touch diamond, which is a very smooth diamond, in order to smooth the prep. And I make a chamfer, medium chamfer. Then I design the crown, the finish line, the axis. I do the articulator. And this is the final result. Okay? Now, I believe for a single anterior crown, this is a fine result. It's not the same as a technician would do, I know. But for me, in my hands, it's okay. I would accept a work like that from the technician also. Why? Because there are a lot of elements here which make it disappear in the mouth. For example, all this white stuff over here, which resembles this white stuff over here, like calcification. The blue transparency that we put here is stained, and it stays like that for a long time. Now, you see the marginal fit of the Emax crown, yeah? And you see this tooth, the fracture one, which I kept vital. I used Celtra Duo for it because Celtra Duo has these features of like vermilion effect. It disappears in the mouth. It's very good for single anterior crowns. It polishes very well. The machinability of it is very good. And all the aesthetical features of it are very nice. But they don't have bleach, for example, which I use a lot. One moment, let's go over this. Okay. Okay. Only this case, I wouldn't do a composite filling here. If I would do a composite filling here, it would create a lot of stress. So I prefer to do an onlay. You see the onlay over here, chair side, and you see the fit of the onlay with the X-ray. How did this come in here? I don't know. We'll get to that later. I do Marylands, and I do the Marylands from Emacs. There is this block number 40. Why Emacs? Because it's adhesive. I can acid etch it, put silane, a ceramic primer, acid etch the teeth, cement it, and I get very good cementation. 3/4 crown, I do a very conservative preparation here, and I do a 3/4 crown, and I follow up for many years. Big cases, like this case, for example, I make them small cases. Whenever I have a big case, I make it small. Meaning what? This patient, I didn't do it for aesthetics. I did it because he had lots of TMJ pain. And he is 28, and he has a long life ahead of him. And he asked me to do it, and I had no hesitation of giving him vertical dimension correction with Emacs, and prepared all his teeth, 32 teeth or 28, I don't remember. And I'll show you how I do it. I create a mock-up of one tooth with a posterior stop of the bite, what we call an anterior platform. And I also create posterior elevation over here. I calculated that I need here a 5 millimeters elevation. So I do one jaw in one day and the other one in the other day, and another day. So I raise the elevation 2.5 millimeters. In this case, sometimes I do 3 and 2, 4 and 1, it depends. And I elevate 2.5 millimeters and I start restoring these teeth all the way to the midline. I do it in trios, 3 by 3. You see, I prepare 3 teeth with a deep chamfer. You see the stop over here, yeah? And they are being manufactured. While they are being manufactured, I prepare the next 3, okay? I get this purple Emacs, I put them in the mouth, I scan this region. I get these 3, I scan the anterior region. And that's the way I continue until I finish the case, okay? Step by step. In this case, we used A2, or I think, yeah, it's A2, because the patient didn't want any extravaganza. I'll show you also bleach, which you might like, Linda. Okay, so, and I don't like. Lower arch, I do the next day or 2 days later. Here you have the elevation on this side, I left it. And I did composites on the other side, so the patient would have balanced occlusion for the 2 days until he comes back for the next stage. And I prepare the teeth and I do them together, okay? I shape the dimensions of the teeth according to Fibonacci and the gold ratio. I don't want to get into it. This tooth is too long, as you see here. This tooth is exactly as long as it should be. This is the final picture, just cemented the lower arch. but you see how the upper arch looks 2 days later. Then I scan the patient, I send it via Connect to the lab, and the lab is making me fabricating a night guard. This patient has to have a night guard. My instructions to the lab are like this. Make in IC as much contact as possible, and in protrusion and lateral protrusion, I want contact only on the anterior region from canine to canine. I want this articulation of the posterior region. If you want, we can do another time, another study group about this. This is there is a lot of Torah around this. Why I do it like this? But these are the instructions. That's how we finish with the patient. And you can look, this is 1 week later, and you see that the gums are much better. You see here and here, I didn't do anything with the gums. Only porcelain, or in this case, Emax, reacts better with the gingiva. This is, here you can compare acrylic with Celtra Duo. This is Celtra Duo, these 4. Over here we put provisionals for the start, okay? Celtra Duo is a nice material. You see the finish line over here, usually is gingival. Why gingival and not IgM? The immunoglobulins, which are exerted over there, and it's the most resistant region of the tooth for caries. Celtra, if you cut it, this is what you get. Emax, this is what you get. And other materials, this is what you get. But this slide is done by Celtra, so take it with a bit of salt. Okay? But I realized it's it's being cut nice. Cementing material, I like it, but today I got back to a Rely X Unisem by 3M. I use capsules, which I find are much better. This is a dental tourism. Patient came to me from Russia. I knew in advance what I'm going to do here, and I'll let you think about it for a few seconds. What would you do? And then I'll shock you. Okay. The patient arrives at the clinic. First thing I do, I scan her. When I scan her, I send the CT with the scan to the lab, and we design the guide. Now, since we don't have time here for sinus lifts, we use whatever we have in order to place implants. Is it the best dentistry? It's good. It's not the best. The outcome was good. So we put diagonal implants over here with multi-units. Afterwards, I get everything with the surgical guide. I get the guide, I get the implants, and I get the multi-units with the angles and everything. Day of implantation, we cut the bridge over here and over here. We use this in order for the guide to be supported on teeth. I don't believe in surgical guide which are completely tissue supported. Specifically, not in cases like this where I have to angle an implant over here. That's my way of thinking, because I failed with tissue supported implants. So while the flap is open, I ask the surgeon to wait. I put the scan bodies and I scan and I send it to the lab to do the provisional crown, a bridge, okay? In this case, we planned also an implant over here. We put it in, and it was too soft. I didn't get primary stability. So we didn't insist on placing it. We just made the cantilever over here, okay? We placed also implants over here. All this was done in the same day. 1 day later, I had the final restoration from the lab. This restoration is on top of multi-units, and the material here is something which I fancy very much lately. It's called Trinia, polyethylene ketone ether, PEEK material. It's very strong. It has some flexibility. And on top of that, we put polymethyl methacrylate restoration. And we screw it in 1 day later. I don't do the bridge virtually and then in the same session deliver it, but a day later. The patient goes to the hotel, and 1 day later, a taxi brings her back to the clinic, and we do insert that. Okay, we insert it in. Thank you. This is how it looks 1 day later. Yeah, you still see the sutures. Imagine for a patient to go out like that. It's a big gamble. All this immediate load, it's a big gamble. We succeed. If I make an estimation, I think above 90% success rate, but I don't do many cases like that. I'm not happy with them. This is how it looks 6 months later. The patient came back. All the implants are in, and we deliver the final restoration. Well, we can go. This is disgusting case, very difficult case. All we do here is I did wax up and study, and then we did the guide. But I want. One moment. So we place the implants, but I want to go. These are the provisional bridges, which are hollow, and we cement them to the T-base in the mouth. Okay, but now let's go back to chairside dentistry. So patient comes like that. Of course, she wants a different story. I don't like this case, and you will see why. So we remove the bridge, and you see black teeth underneath. So how do I solve this problem? I can't use Emax because Emax is transparent, even the low translucent. It would look gray. So I do frames made of zirconia. I cement them in the mouth, and then I rescan it as a tooth, and I do an Emax crown. Okay, this is the zirconia. And after you cement it, you see that it masks all this black underneath. And on top of that, you can put Emax crown, cement it, or in this case, a bridge. That's the bridge immediately after placement. And you see that we had to do more of these. But the color here is hideous, in my opinion. Yeah, and I did 2 mistakes in this case. First, she chose bleach BL11. Yeah, it looks like a toilet. And she didn't want to do the lower jaw. So I agreed not to do the lower jaw, which is a big mistake. And it's too white for this lady. Okay, but it's done. She's happy, I'm not. Tormented. In this case, I was more a mensch, So I did what I want. So these are the preps. This is all done in 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. Smile design. Do you use the smile design?
I don't use the smile design on the CEREC, no.
Okay. I do also the classical smile design, the Kochman, but the CEREC is, it's okay. It's good to show the patient. But in this case, I used a very nice material. This is porcelain multi-layer. CEREC C, it's called. Yeah, it's multi-layered, and you'll see the final result. I think it's okay. It's acceptable.
Nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, and you see the finish line. It's very gentle, and it stays like that. Here, it's more significant, but it's okay. I know this patient for many years, and it's very resistant. It's the same, looks the same. I did another mistake here. The mistake was that I didn't do these teeth. Yeah. So when you look at the patient and you see this, the result is not holistic as I wish it to be, but there are economical reasons. Sometimes, for me, I prefer to do it for nothing, but to do it so I be happy with it. I'm not happy with this case. You see, horrible. Look at this. Why? Why didn't I do a crown here and that's it? I didn't. She didn't want to pay. Okay.
So I'm sure that we're going to ask some questions now because we've been busy for 2 hours. It's been amazing, absolutely amazing. And I'm sure there are, Ilana, I'm sure you've got questions. So I'm going to open, let's do some more questions, and then hopefully we can book another session because there was so much amazing stuff to learn. Ilana, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Ilana's in Manchester.
Hi. Manchester, UK.
Okay, hi, Ilana.
Hi. I was asking before about the bite.
Yeah.
I'm quite early in my implant career, so I'm placing my own implants, and I've done some digital, but I just feel like if it's more than a single unit, I can't really, unless it's different with the CEREC, I can't really get lateral movement recorded with the scanner that I use. I'm using a Carestream scanner that's open to, you can't seem to get a 3D bite, only a single, I can only use it for single unit really.
Okay.
Is that the different scanner, or is it in general?
No, that's the software. It's very basic feature of the software. And in the parameters, you have the articulator. And what you have, you see this slide, Ilana?
Yeah.
Okay. What you have in the articulator parameters is for somebody normal with medium inclination of the cusp, without extra forces and so on and so forth. Now, for example, if I have a bruxist, which I want to restore. By the way, the software is doing it everything by itself. You don't have to do anything. And if you do multiple units, when you do multiple units, all you have to do is take the tools, the smooth tool or the circular tool, and remove whatever is not in place.
So with your scanning, do you take multiple bites? Do you take bites in different positions, or do you just take a bite?
Yes, you can. And but you didn't get the major point that I indicated in the beginning. I take a big case and I make it a small case. Meaning I don't have 12 units. I have only 3 units.
Right, yeah. Because you're measuring the bites.
I do it gradually. These systems, all of them, they make big mistakes in big arches. The mistakes are usually in the end of the arch. You have something going wrong there. Now you have the ortho software, and the ortho software is it's possible there to take the bite on the left side, on the right side, and it combines it together. So if I want to do a full arch like I did this case with the implants, then that's what I do. I take the bite with this. Or as if you do many single units or you do a full arch but you segment it, then you do each segment by itself. Then you have less problems, more accuracy, and less sweat on your forehead.
So do you do full arch work, full arch implant work? Yeah.
Of course I do.
Yeah. So do you only use
everything? Yes, but if I have everything in my hands, so what I do is I design the implants to be placed so I can do 3 segments, 2 posteriors and 1 anterior. If I can't, if I need to do a full arch for immediate load, for example, for a cross arch loading, then I'll compromise. And when I get the bridge, I have to readjust here and there in order to get a good bite.
Yeah, but with immediate, you've got something that you can adjust.
Not good for, not very accurate for a full arch work. It's very acceptable, but you have to anticipate that you have to readjust.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay,
you know,
thank you.
You remember immediate side shift, Ilana?
Yeah.
You remember the immediate side shift?
Immediate side shift on the occlusion. That's the term to use.
This is the time to explain that. Okay, now not as a student, but as a mature dentist. Immediate side shift is very important, and it doesn't get its proper dignity. And I explain why. Immediate side shift is when we do this working movement to the side, then the condyles go to the side without disarticulating the teeth before the gliding on the condyle. Okay, that's the immediate side shift. 2 millimeters. Now, who would have 2 millimeters and who would have 0.5 millimeter immediate side shift? What dictates how wide the side shift would be? The central fossa. The central fossa, where the upper cusp gets in, if it's wide, then you have a long movement before you have this articulation. You see my hands?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, if it's very narrow, then you don't have lateral side shift, immediate side shift, because at the moment you start gliding, you are disarticulating.
Right. Okay. So I think that we have had an amazing session. I want to say thank you so much. I'm sure Ilana's going back on Monday, so she's got some inspiration. And yeah, Ilana's also on our Tehillim group, and she's had a tough time, but now she's going forward, and you've given us lots of inspiration, lots of food for thought. Lots of food for thought with our cheesecakes, but also there's so much more, and I hope, Michelle, that we can do a bite plate session with you. Brian knows that we make where we are in Hampstead, everybody needs a bite plate because they're all stressed out. Even more so, all our emergencies at the moment that we're about to see are all because they're grinding their teeth because of COVID. They're so stressed. So Brian will be happy because he'll be making bite plates on everybody next week. So that's good. But I want to say thank you so much. It was an incredible journey that you took us on. To share your great depth of knowledge was incredible. We have all learned so much, and your dear student Moti is still here watching.
I'm here. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharp as always, Michelle.
Really outstanding, and so much dedication, Michelle. It's a great inspiration. I want to say thank you so much, and we hope to see you again, and we'll do a bite plate session. I'm sure there was so much to learn, and it was incredible. So
I want to see you in Israel And we'll do a course. No, really, a course in
lovely.
Israel. We have a lab in a village, in an Arab village, which is called Baka El Rabia, and this is the agent for the Arabs in Israel, and he's a good friend, and he's created a wonderful facility for courses with phantoms, with simulators, everything.
Okay, so Brian will also come with, and we'll
you can all come there, and we'll do a course of 1 week, in which we will combine a tour around Israel, and you will be professionals in Cad Cam dentistry.
Wonderful, that's wonderful. And it was lovely because we hosted Michelle's students in London. They came for a week and they trained with us in 2013, and then we had another group 2 years ago. It was amazing. So I just want to say thank you and wish everybody Chag Sameach. And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much. It was really amazing.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Stay safe and don't panic.
So Diane wants to say something.
No, with you. I need to speak with you.
Okay, that's fine. But we've got CPD certificates for everybody, and we'll issue them. And we'll set up another Zoom. So thank you so much, everybody.
Oh, okay then.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.